What is going on, guys? It's Rick back with another video, and today we keep covering the Famalicão Chess Open. Uh, Sad news, I actually lost one game, so we had to skip it. It was I played with black pieces against an 1850 player, rated player. We got into a perk. And I was playing black pieces. Yes, I'm playing d6 against d4. Or I was playing, or I am playing. I don't know. Watch out! Watch out! They can play everything. But in all seriousness, it was a fine game. Was a little bit down in the clock, and ended up making a huge blunder, and lost the game after that. And yeah, kind of sad, but then I managed to, or I'm trying to get a hold of all the games, because I lost a lot of games. I haven't been that responsible when it comes to actually making sure I keep all my games. I have been losing a lot of games, and I have been trying to contact my opponents, so to ask them if they can lend me their paper, the paper with the moves and stuff like that, so I can do these videos and analyze the games as well. But yeah, let's go into the game. This was already quite a long intro, so I'm playing against Filipa Camacho. She's a 1358 rated player from Colégio Português, and if you guys have been watching my videos for a while, you know that the club is full of strong and talented kids that I've played quite a few of them already, and let's see how this game went. So with the white pieces, I opened with d4, and she went into g6. She played g6, so I was like, okay, another perk, let's go, another modern, let's go. E4, of course, d4, e4, bishop g7, knight c3, d6, knight f3, knight f6, and bishop e2, and castles. So all the same that we looked, and I castled, of course. And here, as you guys already saw in the last video, I think my opponent went for e5, so, and then I took, and there were all those things, you guys remember, e5, and this is pretty much like all forced. And if you saw my last video, you know that my opponent ended up playing queen e8, and ended up having a way worse position from the start. But here, she surprised me with c5. I wasn't expecting c5, and I was like, c5? I was hoping for e5, but here, I mean, c5 was kind of confused. I didn't know these type of positions in the perk. And yeah, I didn't know if I should take on c5. The problem with taking on c5 for me was that I don't know, we would trade queens. I even thought about just playing here a move like h3, stop bishop g4, and I don't know, I just felt like, and stop also knight g4, but I felt like this position was not that impressive for white. And yeah, by taking on c5, I also open her bishop, which, you know, it's not something that you want to do if you don't have a concrete reason to do it, you know. And yeah, I also thought about d5, which is the most natural move, but also these type of positions I wasn't really comfortable. She reminds me of like Benoni structure, and I wasn't really too comfortable with this, and I thought that she might have prepared something against like these structures. So I just decided to go into the same variation that I was talking about, but without taking on c5. So h3 to stop any bishop g4s or knight g4s when I put my bishop on e3. And she took, and I took, and she played knight c6. And here I realized that I got completely tricked, because now we are just in like a open Sicilian type of game, like dragon. Like we are just in a dragon, bro. And I was so like, we are in a dragon where I castled kingside, and bro, I don't play like this with white, and I don't like to play these structures uh, because I never studied these structures. I don't know what to do, the plans and stuff like that. I always go for the close Sicilian, as you guys know. Um, and yeah, I was like, she completely tricked me. I thought that we were gonna play just a perk defense, and all of a sudden we are in like some sort of mainline open Sicilian dragon, or I don't know, something like that. And yeah, I only realized this now, and I was like, okay, now I have to figure out what to do in this type of position. Let's try to make some moves and see what goes on. So I played bishop e3, and this is literally, I'm pretty sure this is like some sort of dragon variation. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is totally like for me this is totally like dragon looking like position, Sicilian dragon. But yeah, bishop e3, and she went 97 here. 97, I didn't really understand why she played 97. Yeah, moves like e5 are always an option, but it's not really good in this position because it just blocks her bishop and she gets a backward d pawn. But d5 here is also interesting, just attacking the center immediately. And here I should have taken space with a4. I don't know. The only thing that I saw with 97 was that she might want to go knight c5 and put pressure on this pawn, but it's weird. I don't know. I really don't know this position, so I can't really talk too much besides what I was thinking in the game. Also thinking about maybe just taking the knight on c6, but at the same time, I feel like I just wanted to develop the rest of my pieces, and the only idea that I could think of in this position was to play queen d2 and trade the dark square bishops. I'm really like, I don't know almost anything about these positions. But yeah, here I played queen d2 as I said, but this is just a bad move because I just lose a tempo because she can take here, take. I kind of saw this, but I thought that this wouldn't be that bad because I actually got what I wanted, which was to trade off dark square bishops and weaken her king a little bit. But yeah, I mean, she has a lot of moves that like queen b6 that are very annoying and almost equalize. No, they literally equalize the position, and there's nothing to play for. And of course, I just wanted to win. You know, yeah, I just wanted to win. Um, but she went 97, and here I went queen d2, and she didn't really punish it. She played knight b6, which okay, going into c4, but I mean, it's like, I don't know if the knight is doing much on this side of the board. She went knight f6 to d7 to b6. I feel like that was a little bit of a waste of time, honestly. But, you know, who am I to say when I don't know anything about this position? So here I just took on c6. I felt like I just wanted to trade knights and play bishop h6. This is what I saw, and I felt like this would be good for me. Although our center is kind of like taking on c6 and letting her connect the pawns. It's risky because she can get really nice center and yeah, a lot of control of key central squares. So it's always risky. But I thought that this would be good. And here, after bishop h6, I was expecting I don't know, a move like maybe bishop e6, something like this, trying to develop in some sort of dragon style, and maybe she can now play knight c4 if I allow her, but of course I don't have to. But here she played a move which I thought was very, very bad and unnecessary. She played f5, and here I thought f5 was very bad because it just weakens her position a lot, and I still have a light square bishop, and we are definitely gonna trade bishops as I did in the game. Bishop g7, king g7, and here I thought that she just weakened their position like too much without any clear compensation for it. I thought that f5 was just very weakening because I always have threats of of just putting pressure on this diagonal, you know, moving my queen over this one. My knight can easily jump into the game, you know, my rook's going to the open files. She's not that well developed. Their pieces are a bit strange here. And of course, the idea is just if I take on f5, she just takes with the bishop. She develops the bishop to a good square, but I'm not going to take on f5. And I can always pressure this knight on b6 with a4, a5, but I don't really have to because this knight is not doing much. But in case that I want to put this bishop here on this diagonal, I can play a4, a5. And so I thought that was very, very good in this position. I just said rook 81, I mean, put pressure on this d6 pawn. You know, if she ever tries to push e6 or e5, this pawn is weak, permanently weak. So yeah, I was feeling myself here. I was very happy with my position. I thought that things were going good, and I was clearly better. I could understand now the position. She took on e4. I took with the knight, and she played knight e5, which I wasn't expecting. Sort of a weird move for me, but I couldn't really understand what she wanted with this move. Maybe knight f4 is an idea for her to put the knight on an active square and pressure my king side a little bit, my bishop, my h3 pawn. Okay, I can understand now. But yeah, I played bishop c4, activating my bishop to the diagonal that I wanted. And she played knight f6. And here, there's a couple of good moves, but this position is kind of tricky because she's threatening d5 to fork my pieces. And, you know, I have a lot of options. I can trade knights, but I didn't really know if I wanted this type of position. I mean, it seems good. Yeah. Also, I could just go back with my bishop. So when she plays like, oh, actually this, no, what? No, I can't do that because my knight is hanging. Okay, what am I saying? Okay. So I have to do something about this knight right now. Actually, one of the top engine moves is c3. Not really caring about d5 because I can always move my bishop and she can't really take the knight because of the rook discovery, which I didn't really see this idea. So I played the second best move in the engine, which was knight g5. My idea with knight g5 was to actually have a very nice threat of knight e6 check and forking all these pieces if the bishop is not there anymore. So here she played d5, and after d5 I didn't see the idea of just ignoring this d5 move. Something went wrong in my calculations because I ended up playing bishop e2, which is very bad, and I didn't realize how bad it was until actually this was on the board. Because I don't know, I don't remember like how I was actually thinking during the game, but yeah, I don't know why I didn't go bishop e3, for example. I think this is better always to put pressure on this diagonal if this pawn ever moves. But, you know, like, it's tough because why did I go knight g5, you know, like h6, you know, go back. And yeah, it's, I feel like I'm losing the thread here a bit with after this. But I went knight g5, d5, as I said, like, very nice move would have been fe1 or even queen c3 doesn't look bad at all. Just ignoring this d5 push and, you know. But here I went, as I said, I went bishop e2, and here I saw that she could have completely turned the tables around, equalized, and even be better, I think, way better. She could have just grabbed the initiative very well. But yeah, it was kind of a hard move to see, but she could have played e5 and had a really, really good position here because like my knight here is very awkward on g5. Now like there's not ideas of e6 ever. Going on f3 just allows like e4, I think, and yeah, I mean this position just looks very bad with her pawns marching forward. And yeah, I mean, if I don't know nothing about this knight, if I just play, I don't know, rook e1, h6, and you know, this is crazy. Like knight f3, e4. I mean, the computer says that knight d4 is fine for me, but I don't know about that. I mean, just look at this. Knight b3. I mean, this I couldn't ever play like this. This just looks way too scary. For me, just letting her pawns march forward. But yeah, computer just says that this is even better for white. So it wasn't as simple as I thought. And here she played queen d6, which the computer likes as well. I feel like the idea is the same in the next move to play e5. But here I thought that she missed the opportunity, because now I eat with c4 and I start to put immediate pressure on the center. And yeah, but here I think she could have still just gone h6 probably, knight f3, and e5 maybe. Yeah, I feel like this is still like pretty scary for me, honestly. I don't care what the engine says. This feels like black is in control of the game and of the initiative. But here she made a bad move, bishop e7. This doesn't really help her position at all. And here I had a nice move which I didn't find. I think this, like, it's a winning move, but it's really hard to see. It's a combination, like the winning move here would have been c5. Very hard to see. Of course, the if queen takes check, the bishop is no longer protecting this diagonal, so I win the game. I win the queen. I win the game. But she, of course, has queen d7 here. The idea is not there anymore for now. But here the computer says queen c3, pinning the knight. And for example, h6, I have bishop g4. The knight is pinned. The queen is attacked. There's not like many squares that don't lose the queen. You know, the only move is queen e8, and here I have knight e6, so very nice combination. I didn't see any of this, to be honest, but yeah, just the sample variation for you guys to see. She had to find here king g8, and after king g8 I have rook fe1, and apparently this position is just crushing for white. And yeah, I didn't see any of this. So after bishop b7 I just took on d5, she took, and here I played f4 with the idea of coming back with the knight and getting the e5 square. Here the computer just says 0 0 0s, but this position, at least for me, it's very complicated. She's also getting squares on e4, you know, it's scary. It's definitely scary. My dark squares are weak, her dark squares are weak, the position is chaos, and let's see how the game continued. So she went h6, I went knight f3, she went king h7, which, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit premature, but I think the idea is she wants to move the knight, so she wants to first move out the king, so she doesn't have to deal with any annoying checks. So she went king h7, I went queen d4. My idea was to simply block the pawn that is pretty much blocking the vision of her bishop, which if this bishop opened, it would be very scary for me, directly attacking my king side. And also just control e5, because I definitely don't want to let her play e5 here. And she played knight e4, which I saw, and here I had to make a big decision, because she is of course threatening. First of all, she's threatening this pawn on f4, which is very annoying for me, and she's also threatening to go knight g3, and yeah, it's very complicated. I allowed her to do that. I went knight e5, protecting this pawn, and also putting my knight on a very juicy square. She went knight g3, very logical, and here I had to make a decision. Of course, she's attacking my bishop, she's attacking my rook, and I either move the bishop and sack the exchange, or I just block with rook f2 and let her take my bishop and play this position out, which computer likes for white. I calculated for a long time here, and yeah, like for probably more than 30 minutes, honestly, and I went for bishop d3 like a savage. Just take my rook, I don't care. I will try to mate you, and yeah, it's hard to say everything that I calculated, but I knew that if she took with the knight here directly, I think I would have played something like, I don't know, knight takes g6, something like that. And yeah, I mean, this is crazy position. Like, this is all equal. It's all zeros if she finds rook f6. It's the only move that actually saves the game for her, and this is on the king side. But she played rook f6 first, which allows me to just move my rook to f2. And she played a5. At first I didn't really understand, but this position is like complicated, so complicated. Like, I was expecting her to play, I don't know, knight f5, and here I had nothing better than to just take, and she would take with this, and here I couldn't really assess this position at all. I didn't know if I wanted to go for like something like g4, very crazy, just opening everything up, or if I just wanted to take the open files, but my knight is very strong. The only thing, like, yeah, this position is better for white just because of the minor pieces, I feel like. But she can play rook f8. She can put a lot of pressure on f4. It's crazy. She can play maybe in the future like g5. It's a very crazy position. But of course, my knight on e5 uh, is not going anywhere, and her bishop on b7 is just very bad as long as the pawn is on d5. So yeah, it's a very interesting position, very nice. Here I think we were already kinda short on time. It depends on what you consider short, but I think we were both definitely under 30 minutes, I would like to say, maybe 30 or under 30, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but so in the game she went a5, which at first I didn't understand, but then I understood that she wanted to move the rook, and she wanted to play a5 first, taking space, but also just protecting the pawn from queen takes if she just played rook c8 immediately. So here I went to king h2. I didn't really know what to do in this position, but I was okay, let me attack the knight, let's see where she puts it. And here of course she has to move the knight. She played knight h5, which I thought that was the worst option because the knight on h5 is very awkwardly placed. And yeah, indeed, a knight e4 here was also annoying, like, because do I really want to take this? Like, it's crazy. Here, yeah, the computer just wants me to take, but the thing with taking is that we trade queens, and this rook on f2 is tied down to this pawn. I can always play g3, but she opens her bishop. She has double pawns, though. This is so complicated for me, this position, dude. Wow, I need to actually go through the game properly offline and actually figure out all those variations just as an exercise to calculate and stuff like that. But she went knight h5, and I went rook c1. I thought for a while here because I really had no idea what I should do. But yeah, she's putting pressure on this pawn with the knight. I think that was her idea, to put pressure, maybe to attack this pawn, maybe with rook f8 in the future. But here I just played rook c1. I wanted to activate my rooks, take control of the only open file. She went rook c8. I traded, and played g3. I wanted to move my rook away to c2, and I wanted to protect f4, of course. And she played bishop f5, which, I thought it was strong. The computer doesn't like this at all. The computer just says knight g7, just put the knight on the better place. But she went bishop f5. I traded, of course. I had nothing better to do. But here, just look at the difference between the knights. Her knight is trash, doing nothing, and my knight is just a monster. I'm in the driver's seat for sure, and I play rook c2, taking control over the open file and threatening uh, rook rook c6. Yeah, she goes queen d8, and here I play rook c5, attacking this pawn on d5. Here she surprised me with the move. We were already here. We were low on time for sure. We were below. I think we were below 15 minutes both. I'm pretty sure about that. At least both below 20 minutes. And for me, in classical time control, that's already low. I didn't see queen g8. Very nice move. Attacking my pawn on g3. So I, of course, defend on d3. With queen d3, I defend pawn on g3. And here she plays king h8, trying to, you know, dodge this diagonal and any checks. But this gives me time to grab the pawn on a5, and here I'm up one pawn, and my position is just winning. I have two connected passed pawns, and I just need to roll them down the board. Meanwhile, my knight on e5, ever since he got there, he has been such an annoying piece for my opponent to deal with, and yeah, let's go. She went rook b6, activating a rook. I played b3, and here she played e6, which, I mean, it's very hard to suggest moves for her, but here the computer just says play queen c8, trying to create something over here, you know. And it's kind of scary if she infiltrates like that, honestly. But she went e6, and here I just played rook c5, going back to the open file, and she played rook a6, which is, you know, it's a tricky move. It's definitely, you know, if you take the rook, you lose, which is, you actually don't lose, you draw. Take the rook, I actually thought for a while and played a4, which is the best move. She went knight f6, and she was already really low on time. I think she was below like 3 minutes, and I still had like I think I had like 8 or 9 minutes or something like that. I had more time than her, but here knight f6 just blunders the game instantly. Of course, she was already losing and worse, but yeah, knight f6 just puts an end, because now I can actually take. And I feel like her idea when she played knight f6 was, if I took, that she had a knight e4, threatening to go into g3 and also threatening the rook. So I think her idea was that if I played, I don't know, like queen d3, she had a knight takes on c5, and yeah, this would be good. But even here, I'm still winning. But the problem that I think she missed is that after I take on a6, if with the queen I take the rook, I am threatening rook c8, and she saw, and she resigned after queen takes on a6. Of course, I'm threatening this. It's pretty much unstoppable. I mean, if she goes knight e8, I mean, I don't think we have to analyze this position right anymore. But yeah, this was the game. I actually managed to win. Pretty nice and complicated game, dude. I actually have to study this game a lot, in just for not only for the tactics and all the possibilities that were in the game, but also trying to get to understand the open Sicilian structures and ideas and all that stuff, because, you know, I might get tricked again and transpose into something that I'm not really comfortable with, which was what happened in this game. And yeah, fortunately, I actually managed to win, but it was a very tough game, and probably one of the most complex games that I've played in a while, in my opinion. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.